Hi, it's Antti. Here we are in location X. Someone else found it as well. There's another rough day at the office once again, and I'd like you to join me. Today I'm going to tell you about this Merisuola Graphene series. It's the new Merisuola series, which I'm personally really excited, and I think a lot of you guys have been really expecting this rod, and I'm going to tell you all the details about the rod, the components and everything. But before that, let's do some fishing. Normal, quite normal outside here when we come out to fish for sea trout. And this is still early. It's just beginning. Of course you can catch sea trout all through the summer, but if the conditions are good. But really the best part is just starting. So let's see if we can find some. It's not too windy, but there's still some waves and a little bit of wind. I like to use a bit faster sinking line, so I'm using the Still Maniac Sink 3 just to get it down, because you know there's gonna be current, the boat is gonna be moving, so it's not gonna go really deep with this line even in these conditions. So just to get it down enough, and if it really starts to blow, like an 8 weight is a good choice for boat fishing for sea trout. I'm using a 7. 7 is just a good all-rounder. You can do anything with it. But in these conditions, 8 weight is definitely not too much. And these Merisuola Graphene rods, they're quite fast, really strong. You really have the power to push out a lot of line even in these windy conditions. Here it's around 4 meters deep, 4 or 5 meters deep, but where I'm casting there's rocks. And I'm not sure, can you see it on the camera, but you can see the dark spots over there, and that's shallow, just totally rocky. And that's where we want to be aiming our casts. Hopefully there's some sea trout there. Okay, it's time to settle down a bit and talk about the rod. So, Merisuola Graphene. This is really born from the original Merisuola series, so the action, especially the curve of the rod or how it bends, is very close to the original Merisuola. But now we've added graphene, so it's a resin that is reinforced with the graphene, and it makes the rods lighter, it makes it stronger, and it just plain makes them better. Actually, the rods are about 10% lighter, depending on the weight, than the original Merisuolas. So they are really light, and they're sensitive, and sensitive in a good way, because you can feel everything. The blanks are unsanded and unpainted, just like in the original, to get the maximum performance out of the blank. There's nothing extra on the blank. The guides that we chose, the snake guides, are actually exactly the same as on the original series. So these are REC titanium guides, double foot snakes. And then the stripping guides, these are new. So these are also REC guides. So these have the titanium frame that flexes, but now we have a ceramic insert. And with that ceramic insert, those fly lines just shoot out much better. I have to admit that I really like these guides, and I like them much more than on the original series. They were good, these are even better. The handle on the Merisuola Graphene is made out of top quality Portuguese cork, and we have these rubber cork reinforcements here. Reel seat is precision machined aluminum with a really cool design, and we have these really big oversized tightening nuts, and those are there, so it's really easy to tighten the reel in and of course get it out. This smaller nut is just there for security, so you just loosely tighten it against the bigger one. So out here It's about 12-13 degrees the water temperature, so it's definitely okay. Should be okay for sea trout fishing, so it's definitely not impossible to find some. And the colder it gets, you know, it just soon it's gonna be prime time when it gets under 10 degrees, and especially for the fly, because you know, fly is at its best when you have an advantage of fishing slow. You know, fly is at its best out here when you when you fish it slow. So when it gets colder, usually it's better to fish it a little bit slower, and then it's really the time when fly starts to work really well. Might even outfish spin fishermen. This time of the year, you know, it's just easier, especially on this wind, to cover more water with the spin, and you can fish faster, you have more noise, everything. So probably spin can be more effective still in warmer water, but from here on out until ice comes, you know, prime time for sea trout fishing with the fly. You know, most of the fly anglers, they fish from the bank, but boat fishing is really effective because, of course, you can cover much more water. Especially our archipelago here in Finland, there's a lot of islands, not so much shallow banks like somewhere else, so you can just fish so many more places with the boat. But with boat fishing, you know, we are on top of the deep water, deep being 3-4 meters, here 2.5 meters. But anyway, you're casting usually towards the shore, towards the shallow water. So you can have a little bit deeper sinking lines in fishing from the boat, in my opinion at least. And I use a lot of fast intermediate, sink 2, sink 3s in boat fishing. Whereas fishing from the bank, I would be using floaters, slow-mos, which is a slow intermediate line. So there's a difference, at least in my fishing, if I'm fishing from the boat or if I'm fishing from the shore. So faster sinking lines from the boat. And with the boat, be patient. So if it's rough like it is now, and you're fishing a rocky place, you know, take your time positioning the boat. Get a good position and then make the cast. Don't be in a rush. I like to use deceiver type of flies. This is a kind of an average size. This time of the year probably could be actually good to use a little bit bigger one than this. But if I just had to choose one that I would be casting in these waters all year around, this is a good general size. But I definitely say that the most important keys are the depth you're fishing, size of the fly, and the speed of the retrieve.
Yeah, your heart is a sun and it shines as it opens.
Where your heart is a sun and it shines.
I think that's it for sea trout for now. Might be a little bit early still. We tried a couple of spots and just couldn't find any fish. So we're gonna head in. We're gonna try for some pike. And even though this is a really fast action rod and made for saltwater, made for coastal fishing, for sea trout, sea bass, it's a good pike rod as well. So if you like a fast rod for pike, it's a good option for you. Well, let's see in a couple of weeks if we can find some fish. In the meanwhile, kala on now.